Boys, welcome back to the channel. If you can't tell, my voice is a little bit different today. I'm a little bit under the weather, but if nothing else, I am Mr. Consistent. So I was showing up no matter what, but we've got some help today from our good friends at Nocco. I mean, they haven't sponsored this video, but they should do. So if anybody knows anybody at Nocco, shout them up. We're getting some bonus caffeine in me today. Keep us going. We're gonna keep this video short and sharp, because today we're going to talk about time, and I don't want you to waste your time watching more of this video than you need to. So the two biggest excuses, let's call them what they are, as to why guys aren't going to the gym, aren't getting in shape, aren't staying in shape, aren't getting healthy, whatever you want to call it. The two biggest reasons I hear, and I've got a lot of experience in this because I've worked with over 100 guys and I've done this for a long time, 5 years, is time and motivation. We're not going to cover motivation today, but if you want me to do another video around motivation, comment motivation in the comment section, and I'll do a motivation video as well. But today, we're going to talk about time. And first and foremost, I need to tell you that if you're walking around telling yourself, telling other people that you don't have time to get healthy, to stay in shape, to get in shape, to go to the gym, whatever it might be, then that is a limiting belief. And the chances are, if you put that vibe out into the world, other people are going to reinforce it. They're going to back that up. They're going to tell you, oh no, you're right. It's probably okay. Don't worry about it. You're special. Don't stress. Live a balanced life. Blah, 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 blah. They're going to validate your excuse. Very few people like to go against the grain because they've got their own problems. They've got their own issues. And they just will agree with you because it's the easiest, it's the path of least resistance. And most people just like to do that, right? So if you're putting stuff like that, negative limiting beliefs out into the world, and you're expecting someone to challenge you on it, very few people will. But the chances are, if you're watching this video, then you want to find the time to go to the gym. And I'm not going to validate your excuse. So happy fucking days, right? So first and foremost, first thing I would say to yourself is take some personal responsibility for this and stop putting it out there into the world that you don't have time to stay in shape, get in shape. Because trust me when I say this, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will see what I mean. Every single person can make time to go to the gym, to get in shape, to stay in shape. Time is a tool. You can control it, or it will control you. And if you let it get out of hand, you're gonna have a lot less time overall, which is a morbid thought, but a very real thought. And actually, the more morbid the thoughts, the more real the thoughts, the more likely you are to go out and make the effort to do this stuff. So let's get morbid, let's get dark, let's get out there and let's get it done. So the first thing I want you to do, if you're walking around the world saying, I don't have time, either to yourself or to other people, first and foremost, just stop doing that. Take some personal responsibility. Secondly, what I want you to do is for one day, so depending on when you're watching this in the day, but like let's say tomorrow, audit your time. So every single hour that you're awake, make a note, and this doesn't need to take long, take 10 seconds per hour. Make a note of what you've done in that last hour. So every hour, you're making a note of what you've done. So that could be very simple. It could just be like, I don't know, work. You don't need to go into like detail, just work or clean the house or go for a walk or eat food or watch Netflix or whatever it might be. Just, you don't need to show anybody this, just write down what you've done each hour of the day. So super straightforward, okay? And then at the end of that the end of that day, just take a look at that, audit that time and be like, and be really, you gotta be super, it's a little bit like if you're tracking your calories. You gotta be honest with this, right? So be honest to yourself. Like I say, you don't need to tell anybody. You don't need to put this out there into the world to be shamed and judged. This is more so that you can judge yourself, I guess. And it's more to show you as well that you have more time than you think. So write down by hour what you've done each hour. And obviously if you're doing something for multiple hours, then that's cool. They can just straddle multiple hours. So like work, for example, you're probably going to be working more than 1 hour a day. That's very normal. It's very natural. So just write down for the hours that you've done it. But what I would say is, if you catch yourself like breaking focus in an hour, like record that. So record how, like let's say you've worked for an hour, right? But the reality is in that hour, you actually check social media 3 times and you answered a phone call, you did all this. Try and make a note of those things as well, those micro like focus losses as well, okay? And then the next thing I want you to do is realize that you've got more data on how you're spending your time than you think. So if you go on your phone, go on your settings, go on your screen time, and specifically look at things like your social media time, the time you're spending on news apps, the time you're spending on games, anything that isn't like, work related, talking to friends or family, because I'm never going to like discourage you from doing that stuff because I think that's important. But like anything that you could like just call like dopamine hits, like short-term dopamine hits, and just like look at your average for the day or the whole total for the week. You want this to be like a big scary number. Like, so for example, I know for a fact, because I did a video on this last week, I did like a short on this, that the average American is now spending basically, I can't remember the exact number, but it's like 2.5 hours a day on social media. So straight away when people say to me like, oh, I don't have time to like do fitness, whatever that looks like, it's like, well, you do, because the chances are you're not the exception, you're the rule. And so that means you're spending a great deal of time on social media. And I'm not saying again that you've got to like cut this stuff out, but if you're just really critically honest with yourself and look at how much time you're actually spending on social media, do you need to be spending 2.5 hours? And that's just the average. So that means there's 50% of people are spending more time than that on social media. You don't need to be spending more than 2.5 hours on social media. I create content. I create a lot of content, right? And that's not a flex. That's just me saying that I'm creating content and I don't spend more than probably like an hour and a half combined across, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, whatever. Yeah, that's pretty much the main four what I sort of post my content on. I don't spend more than 2 hours in total, right? So if I'm a creator and I'm doing that, as a consumer, you certainly don't need to be doing that. So definitely look at your social media, then look at your news apps, how many times, because what you'll find with the news apps, right, is no one's sitting on the news apps for like an hour. But these companies are very good at pinging you. So they'll ping you a notification and they'll be like, oh, check it again. You'll find that you think, oh, I've only spent like 30 seconds on the news app, but you've actually checked it like 20 times in the day. And those little micro checks have added up to like an hour. So simple advice there. If you want to keep the app, although I could do a whole other video on like why we shouldn't be trusting the mainstream media these days, but let's take our tinfoil hats off for today. But just turn the notifications off, and then you've taken control of that, right? So what have we talked about there? We've talked about time audits, we've talked about social media, we've talked about news apps. Games is another one. Look, my advice with games, I've never spent a lot of time gaming on my mobile, but I know a lot of people do. And I know this might be a little bit controversial. Oh, you can't say that. I would just get rid of them, because these guys who design these games are very good at it, and they're very good at gamifying them so that you spend even more time on them. So you'll notice that most of these games, they remove the clock, so you can't see how long you've been on them. Some of them are even powerful enough to be able to turn off the notifications of other apps, so they can't distract you, and then you've lost 3 hours of your day, and it's like, whoa. Then outside of your phone, well, I suppose combined with other devices, look at how much time you're spending on Netflix. And another big one, guys, for you particularly, but I think as well for women, look how much time you are spending on porn. Because the average man in Britain, I don't know about America, is bashing it once a day, basically, 7 times a week. And the average amount of time spent doing that is about 9 minutes on the website. And you can Google all this, right, by the way. I'm not using my personal stats here. But if you then take into account time before, time after, you've got to sort yourself out, you're probably looking at 20 minutes ago, and then you multiply that by 7. It's a big damn number, right? Then you multiply that by 52 weeks in a year, and you're like, wow, I'm wasting a lot of time here. So basically, guys, a lot of our time now, it's not that we don't have any less time, right? Same 24 hours in a day, blah, blah, blah. The reality is just that we're spending our time in a different way. And we now live in what we call the attention economy, where there's all these companies, all these apps, all these things vying for your attention. And the reason they're doing that is because they're making money out the back of it, okay? So what you've just got to be better at is deciding where you, what you give your attention to, and then being very disciplined about how much time you spend on these different apps. So you can either go for turning off the notifications, you can delete the apps, you can set alarms so that, for example, let's say you're going on a game. Before you do it, maybe set an alarm on your phone for 30 minutes, and then that will interrupt the game. And after 30 minutes, you just go, okay, cool, I'm done, I'm out. So a lot of the time that people don't think they have can be bought back from spending less time on their phone. And I'm not saying, again, like I really want to make this clear. I'm not saying spending less time connecting with friends, doing your work, all this sort of stuff. Don't like get sacked and then blame me, obviously. But what I am saying is that if we're all being super honest with ourselves, we could all spend less time wasting time on our phone. And the other thing I would say on this, and I did a short on this the other day. If you scroll back on my channel, go to shorts, whatever, you'll find it. If you really, really are struggling for time and you're like off social media and you're not on PORN and you don't have Netflix and you are genuinely like stretched to the max and you're like, okay, but none of this accounts for me, I've got something for you as well. So what I want you guys to do is something that I've invented called the single set system. So every time you lose focus from work, so every time you're tempted to pick up your phone or you got to go bathroom or you want to get some water or some food or anything, basically, anytime you lose a little bit of focus, even if it's like 30 seconds, get up and do a single set of a body weight exercise. So this could be squats, could be press ups, could be dips, could be like lunges, could be star jumps, doesn't really matter. Just do one set, just as many as you can, one set, don't overcomplicate it. Write down how many you've done, just have a piece of paper or note on your notes on your phone or Excel, whatever you want to use. Write down how many you've done, and every time you break throughout the day, and you'll be amazed. Again, you'll start to realize how many breaks you're actually taking, how many times you lose focus in a day. And just every time try and beat your last record. So not only are you like using the time that you've lost focus productively, you're racking up hundreds, if not thousands of reps every single day. And you could even go to the levels of like, you got 5 exercises there. You got squats, you got press ups, you've got dips, you've got star jumps, you've got lunges, right? If you've got a pull-up bar, you could do pull-ups as well, but like, I'm trying to make this so easy that nobody can get out of this. You could have one day for each of those 5 exercises. So you've got 5 days in the week, and you could say, right, Monday is gonna be press-up day, and you just see how many you get done. And then the next Monday, you try and beat your previous Mondays, right? So there's loads of ways you can gamify this yourself, and at least then, when you lose your focus, you're spending that time productively and you're getting healthier at the same time. And I guarantee you, if you lose your focus like that, the other thing that's gonna happen is you're gonna come back to work more energized, more creative, feeling better, more positive, ready to go again. So yeah, there's loads of ways around this, guys. I think the biggest one though is up here. It's in the mind. It's recognizing that saying that you don't have time is a limiting belief, and if you put that out there into the world, people will reinforce your belief system. They're never going to challenge you. It's just not the nature of most people. And trying to, when you catch yourself saying it, just try to reverse it in your head, and definitely don't say it out loud. So if you think it, try to reverse the thought process, and then if you really want to prove to yourself that you do have the time, then go through these things. Do a time audit. Look how much time you're spending on social media, news apps, games, PORN, Netflix, Amazon Prime, all of this sort of stuff. And ultimately, look, if you genuinely are struggling for time with the gym, but want to make time for the gym, you'll take the time to do these tasks. If you don't take the time to do these tasks, then you aren't struggling for time to go to the gym, because you know that if you do these tasks, you'll find the time, and then you'll have to go to the gym, so it won't be an excuse for you. So it kind of just to like reverse psychology you before you even get into this, because I know there's going to be some people who watch this and don't do the task, and they're like, yeah, but no, but yeah, but yeah, but no, but yeah, but, and I'm like, listen, if you do this task, you will find 45 minutes. You'll find more time than you even know what to do with. And by the way, I would just finish on this, and again, I've done other videos on this, but you don't need to be training every single day. You don't need to be going to the gym for like 3 hours at a time. If you can go to the gym and do 3 45-minute focus sessions a week, that is more than enough to get fantastic results, okay? So you don't need to overcomplicate this, guys, but trust me, take some of this into account, and I promise you, you'll have far more time than you even realize. I'll leave it there because I can barely speak. Hopefully I'm better tomorrow. Hopefully this video's helped. I plan to come back less sniffly tomorrow and a bit more energized. But yeah, cheers for watching, guys.